911, what's your emergency? 911, what's your emergency?
Be advised, Car 4 has control of the pursuit. Proceed with caution.
Hey, everybody. Welcome, welcome. It's been a few minutes since I have been live with you guys and on my channel. So it's kind of nice to be here this Tuesday night. I hope everybody is safe out there. I know there's some really bad weather happening all around me. It finally turned super cold today. We're supposed to get snow tonight and snow tomorrow. So yeah, the winter weather is starting to leave central Illinois. I do believe spring is trying desperately to rear its head for us, but this might be the last hurrah for Old Man Winter this season. But I was thinking about over the weekend, because I had a lot of exciting things happening in my family this weekend. And of course, we were all together for Easter, and it was beautiful, beautiful weather. Yeah, we had a really good weekend, and a lot of time for me to kind of just sit and ponder some things with my channel and where I'm really wanting to go with the channel after the Delphi case is over. And I have some ideas. I definitely am going to continue to do true crime. I'm going to try, I think, and cover cases that are not as notorious or as famous as I've been covering the last couple of years. I would like to dive into some stories that I truly feel need to be told and that are not getting the coverage. And I've always kind of felt that way, as you guys well know, but I feel that way even more so now. But yeah, so tonight we're going to talk about Judge Gull speaking to the media, from the reports that I've heard. And we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about what was said. We're going to talk about some of the happenings that happened in court filings this past week. We're going to talk about the trial that is imminent, that is coming fast and furious. It will be here before we know it. We're going to talk about that and just go over some things and just kind of hang out a bit and see where everyone is at as far as how everybody is feeling about the case. I know that there's been a lot going on in the streets of the Delphi community. I've addressed that on some other channels, with Ruckus and with Frank Meister. And, quite frankly, I really don't want to get into it again tonight, but I do know that there is a lot of talk and, people have all these opinions and differing opinions about some of these channels. I will say that I am thrilled to know that Art of Deduction lost his channel. I am extremely happy about that. I hope that I had something to do with it, as I did file a pretty lengthy formal complaint with YouTube about him sending crime scene photos to Becky, which I think was absolutely horrific. And he doesn't deserve to be covering true crime, in my opinion. I do know, and somebody has already emailed me and told me that he's back up with another channel. Doesn't surprise me. Ban evasion on YouTube is a real problem. And, that's up to YouTube to deal with. The only thing that I can suggest to people is when you see community standards that YouTube has out there of what they allow and don't allow on the platform. When you see those kinds of things being blatantly broken by a channel, please report it. It's our only recourse as subscribers and content creators that we have in this genre. So I welcome all of you. Let's see who's all with us tonight. Hey, Ramblin' Rome, glad you found me. I do thumbnails for my live streams, so that's what you ran across. It's just a thumbnail that talks about what's going to happen in the live stream that is coming up. If you look at the thumbnail, it always tells you what time it's starting, and then you would want to go to the live tab on my channel, and if you subscribe and hit the notification bell, it gives you all of my upcoming live streams. So that's a way to hopefully get notified when I'm going to go live. Hey, Tech Death, good to see you. Always good to see you. For everyone who doesn't know, Tech Death Hippie is a longtime friend and supporter of mine. He did the music for my channel intro. He is an amazing musician, and I love being able to build him up, so to speak, when I'm here, because I could listen to his music just for hours. Hey, Lynn GMB, good to see you. How are you? Hi, 63 Clocks. Hey, John, long time no see, my friend. I hope you're well. Hi, Olivia, too. Good to see you. Hey, Jill, how are you doing? Nice to have you with us tonight. Hey, Derek, good to see you, my dear. Thank you for being here. Hey, She Warrior 64. Hey, Julianne, how are you? Good to have you. Hi, Wanda from Missouri. Hey, Jinx. How are you, my dear? Good to see you. Hey, Jerry Stadler Mayo. Good to have you with us. Hey, Mitzi. Hi, Jamie. Just trying to catch up, guys. Just give me a minute. I don't want to miss people. I don't like. Um... Hey, Cindy. How are you? Hey, support with Steffa. How are you? I'm so glad you did. Always thankful to have you around. Yeah, exactly. 63 clocks. It's pretty disgusting. Hey, Susie. How are you? Hi, Shelley. How are you? Yeah, exactly. What type of person does it take to do that? And what's sad is that person seemingly thinks they were doing something good. Hey, outside of the grid, how are you? Glad to have you with us. Thank you. Hi, Christine Robbins. Good to see you. Hey, Lisa. How are you, my dear? Thank you for being here. Hey, Nana72. Thank you so much. You're not late. Hey, Metal Mama. How are you? Good to see you guys. I feel like it's been forever. Thanks, John, for putting Tech Death's channel out there in the chat for people who want to go subscribe to him and listen to his music. Hey, Mary. Hey, the Saint. How are you? Yep, I say hello to the people who come into my channel. Hi, Sinbad Sailor. Hi, Sweet Pea. Thank you, my dear. So let's get into it. We're going to watch a real short video first. Oh, Mitzi, thank you so much for the 5 memberships. That is so nice of you. Thank you so much.
Tonight we're getting new details about the trial.
Hang on, guys. Not sure what's going on here.
Coming up in May for the Delphi murders.
Judge Frances Gull tells us how much time she wants for jury selection and for the trial. So Bob Siegel tonight breaks down the details.
We already know the Delphi murders trial is set to begin May 13th. Judge Frances Gull set the trial date a few weeks ago. But this week, 13 News had a chance to meet directly with the judge, and she provided additional details about the upcoming trial for Richard Allen. Gull told 13 News she plans on jury selection taking approximately 3 days in Fort Wayne. The jury would then be sworn in on the 4th day, and opening statements would then take place on day 5. That means the actual trial would start on Friday, May 17th. Judge Gull confirmed the Delphi murders trial will take place at the Carroll County Courthouse 6 days a week, Monday through Saturday, if there are no religious objections by any of the jurors. And the jury will hear testimony from roughly 9 till 5 each day. The Carroll County Courthouse closes at noon on Wednesdays, but the judge plans to keep the trial going on Wednesdays right through the end of the day. Judge Gull expects the trial to be complete by May 31st. So far, she has not approved any cameras in the courtroom. Keep in mind, both the judge and the jury will be from Allen County, and they'll be transported 100 miles to Delphi for the trial. The jurors will be sequestered the entire time. Arrangements have already been made for them to stay in a hotel close to Delphi. 13 News has confirmed the Allen County clerk has sent jury questionnaires to 600 Allen County residents. The jury will be chosen from among those 600 people in what's one of the most high-profile murder trials in state history. In case you're wondering, each juror will receive $80 a day for the first 5 days of the trial. After that, they'll get $90 a day. Those rates are set in state law. I'm Bob Siegel, 13 News.
We have been tracking developments in this Delphi case since 2017. You can see all of our coverage, plus all the stories that we've done about Abby and Libby, all of it on WTHR.com/Delphi.
So that was pretty interesting because they basically talked to her, Judge Gull, about the trial and how the trial was going to go. And so we found out pretty much that it's going to be a 6 days a week from 9 to 5. And even though the courthouse is normally closed on Wednesday, she's keeping it open for the trial. She believes that the trial will be done by the 31st of May. Wow, that is fast in my opinion. But she knows better than I, or better than we do, as far as who has how many expert witnesses there are, how many witnesses in general. She'll know approximately how that's going to go, how long a trial takes. She has a lot of experience in doing this. So thanks, Frank Meister, for becoming a member of my channel. I so appreciate it, and I appreciate you. So thank you so much. I know there's a lot of differing opinions out there, you guys. I just ask that everybody keep my chat respectful. Please respect one another, respect the family members, respect the judge in this case. Just respect people, okay? It goes a long way. We can discuss and we can agree to disagree, and that's fine and good. I just like things a certain way. And yes, it is my channel, so I have the ability to make it that way. I know that I probably come from a different era than a lot of people, because being 62 years old, I was taught to respect people. I was taught to respect authority. And I was also taught that there are certain positions that you respect whoever's holding them, even if you don't agree with that person. And so that's where we are. And I don't really have a ton of rules in my chat, but if you are misbehaving or creating a problem, the moderators will remove you. So that is how I feel about it. Yes, Derek, at this point in time, I do think it's going to make it to trial. And I'll go over why I feel that way. Um, and what I want to do tonight, because I don't really want to miss anyone's questions. So if you guys have a question that you want me or my opinion on, you would like me to answer, could you please put that in the form of a question in the chat tonight? I'm going to go through as those happen. I will star them, and at the end of the live stream, we'll go over those questions, because it can get really crazy when you're trying to answer them, as we're going through. Hey, Annabelle Higgins, I'm so glad you're here, and watching and listening is totally fine. I get that everybody doesn't want to get in the middle of the discussions that happen in a live chat, and I totally get that. And there's times when, over the last month or so, being in chats, I love certain chats on certain channels because they're handled well. I don't want to be attacked by anyone. I don't think any of us do. This should never become personal. This case is about Abby and Libby. It isn't about me. It's not about you. It's not about any other content creator or anyone else out there. This is about two young girls whose lives were brutally cut short, by the worst possible evil that we can even imagine. And I will constantly remind everyone who tunes into me of that. That is what we should be talking about. And we should be saying their name. We should be saying their name over and over again, and Richard Allen's name far less. Just my opinion, guys. We always remember these perpetrators or the people who are accused of crimes. We very rarely remember the victims of the crime. I don't think that Abby and Libby will be forgotten anytime soon. But with that being said, there are times in the last 7 years that I've covered this case and looked at this case where I feel like they've just become a backseat to so much. And yeah, crazy. Hey, Laura, thank you so much for joining. I'm so glad that you are a subscriber. Yeah, people are continuing to write letters to the court. And I think it's absolutely hilarious. Squeaky Wheel is exactly right. People are continuing to write letters to Judge Gull as if she's their personal pen pal. I take it these letters are coming from the rabid and unstable Richard Allen cheerleading squad. Perhaps people that are concerned about transparency and other things. But I guarantee you this judge doesn't have time to be looking at what the public thinks about anything in this case, because what the public thinks doesn't matter. What the public thinks doesn't matter. That is how our justice system works. This isn't something that's debatable. This isn't something that you can debate with the judge and say, this is what I want. This is what we demand. I just think it's hilarious that people think that they can demand things from the court. I find it hilarious. I would love to see it televised. Absolutely. But I don't think she's going to go there. And that's just my opinion. And I think that we can thank all of the crap that's gone on around this case. And most recently with the defense attorneys and all of that, not to mention the YouTubers and everybody she had to just ban from the last hearing. She doesn't want a circus, and she doesn't want to have to continually stop the court proceedings to deal with that when she's going to have enough to deal with the trial itself. That's just my opinion. I could be completely wrong. Hey, this account, good to see you. Thank you for being here. Hey, Deb, how are you, my dear? It's always good to have you in house. Thank you so much for being here. Um, and let's see. Let's see. Yeah, Laura, you can't it's if you have an iPhone, unfortunately there's something weird about joining on iPhones and you need to do it from a desktop computer. Um I disagree with this statement, just so everyone is aware. I think you all know that. Judge Gull is not biased. She is after justice and she is about keeping decorum and um also making the players in the case follow the rules. She is about that. Hey, Periwinkle, how are you? Good to see you. I try, Nana. I try. Thanks, 63 Clocks. They're great. I like my moderators. They all are good people and they've been with me for a long time. Hey, Peggy Day. Um, that is got to be something. I've sat on a pettit jury and I've sat on a grand jury, and I can't imagine sitting on a jury for a murder trial. That had to be something else. Hey, little one. No, Laura, when you are on a jury in this country, you have to have a unanimous vote to convict someone. It has to be unanimous. If they can't get all 12 jurors to decide guilt, then there is an acquittal. Not really an acquittal, sorry, I misspoke. There is a hung jury. When there is a hung jury, the prosecution has the choice to go back and retry the case. And that's how that works. But yeah, it's called a hung jury when they can't come to a unanimous decision. Hey, CJK, how are you, my dear? Good to see you. Hi, Gail. Good to have you with me. um, let's see. Yeah, Frank, you do, because it's going to be a lot of note taking for sure. That's correct. They deliberate until they reach an agreement, and when they are all in agreement, then they send a note from with the deputy out to the judge to let them know that a verdict has been reached. Um, oh, thank you. No, I don't think that they've made too many mistakes. I think the mistakes that have been made are to be expected to some degree. I think there's something that can be said about mistakes in any case, but I also believe that this case, because of it being so high profile, that law enforcement's feet have been held to the fire on this case, sometimes I feel unfairly. First of all, Carroll County is a very small county. It's less than 20,000 people. And I don't think people understand just how little that is and how little that means. So not to mention the fact that they didn't have enough resources, and they did get help because they had the FBI was there right away. They had the state police. The Delphi Police Department and Carroll County Sheriff's Department had never seen anything like this case. They don't have children murdered in their county. It just doesn't happen. So these officers and these law enforcement people had never investigated or had to deal with any of this. I think that's why we see the state troopers and their detectives leading the charge in this. And I think that, sure, Tobe and Tony Liggett and some of the other officers, Mullins, some of the other officers in Delphi and Carroll County were certainly a part of this investigation. Don't get me wrong. But I do think that early on, the FBI and the state really was leading what was happening. But I also think that there was egos involved, because there always is. I don't know how much team building you guys have done within your jobs, but I did a lot in mine, and lots of team building exercises and so on and so forth. And I'm here to tell you that there are always egos, and law enforcement is not any different. There are going to be egos that come to play, and they don't want to give up control. Control's a big deal. They don't want to give up control. They don't want anything to look bad upon their departments. So they're worried about that. And they're worried about all different kinds of things, optics and so on and so forth. And, when you are, trying to investigate a crime of this magnitude, because, come on, guys, in the very beginning, in the first 12 hours, the first 8 hours after the girls went missing, nobody in law enforcement thought the girls were laying in the woods unalived. They didn't think that. They thought that these girls had wandered off, gotten lost, went to friends. They just thought something else not nefarious had happened to them. And the reason that they felt that way was because nobody had ever seen anything like this in their jurisdiction. So it was not on the radar. And I can guarantee you that the families weren't thinking this. They certainly weren't. They were probably more apt to be thinking that they were hurt somewhere or something happened to them as time went on, that maybe one of them fell. The terrain out there is very treacherous, and that bridge is so dangerous, and it was so dangerous back then. I just can't say how dangerous it was to stand on that bridge and have nothing around you to protect you. The holes that were in the railroad ties, some of the railroad ties were mushy because they were completely disintegrating from the weather and from age. And it was just very, very unsafe. Not to mention hilly and deep ravines. If you had stumbled off of the path, gone into the woods, to be kids, and that age where you think nothing bad is going to happen to you. I used to run around in the woods all the time at that age. And, you know, all it takes is one misstep and you can absolutely lose your footing and fall. You know, one of them may have broken a leg, some, you know, and the could have lost the cell phone. I mean, there's so many things that could have been racing through law enforcement's mind and families' minds that didn't have anything to do with what was actually happening in those woods. Um, I think that we have to take a look at being a lot more understanding of how cases evolve. I've talked hours, oodles and oodles of hours with law enforcement retirees, my family members who are current detectives here in my area, and also my really good friend who is a retired judge. And I've talked just ad nauseum with them. I'm sure that they are like, they know so much about this case because of me talking to them. And it's so easy to be a Monday morning quarterback and call out law enforcement for things that they did wrong and this and that and how we would love them to be perfect and all of that. But it's not feasible for that. When you have multiple jurisdictions working together, you're gonna have mistakes. You're gonna have miscommunication. That happens in departments alone by themselves without the issue of multiple jurisdictions. Hang on, I'm trying to get caught up a little bit. And yes, I do believe mistakes were made. I don't believe that any of the mistakes that have been made are going to cost this case. I don't. I don't believe a lot of the rhetoric that has been out there and that's been thrown about lost videos and lost this and lost that. None of that has been told to us by law enforcement. And so I don't buy it all, guys. We have heard for sorry, I'm not used to wearing a hat much. And it makes, because my hair is so thick, it makes my head sweat. So I apologize that I'm playing with my hat. But we haven't seen all the evidence in this case. It's hard to come to 100% definitive answers and to questions when we don't know all the facts. We don't know everything that has happened. We don't know all the ins and outs. And until we do, which will happen in the court of law, by the way, guys, not on a podcast or not by somebody telling you that they have inside information. That's not where you're going to find it. You're going to find it in court. So yeah, we haven't seen everything. Yeah, Mitzi, that is something that my judge friend said is highly unusual. Highly, highly unusual. Now, where they got the idea to do this, I don't know. But if they think she's going to take the time out of her very busy schedule to either answer them back or to even contemplate anything that they have to say, they're mistaken. It doesn't have anything to do with them or their opinions or what they think or how they feel. It doesn't have anything to do with justice in this case. That is not how our court system works. You can't do a writing campaign to try and sway a judge one way or another. It's not the way it works. She makes decisions based upon the law, and she makes decisions based upon her experience, and she by far knows better than we do. And while we're on the subject of that, I just gonna talk about this for a minute. For those who think that Judge Gull is some incompetent, biased hack of a judge, I did an entire live stream last year on her and all of her history and everything. But I just want to say this and give people a little that are new or don't know, whatever, a synopsis of who she is. Okay. Allen Superior Judge Francis Gull is who the Supreme Court of the state of Indiana put in as the special judge in this case when Judge Diener recused himself. The very day he recused himself, they put her as the special judge. And she has stated from day one that everything is going to take place in Delphi. She has said that. And she was appointed to the case on November 3rd of 2022. And when Benjamin Diener took himself off of this case without an explanation, which, by the way, is not required under Indiana state law. You can recuse yourself or take yourself off of a case without giving any explanation. Francis Gull is a reformer of sorts. She typically works as an administrative judge of the criminal division in the Allen Superior Court. And in 2015, she was recognized and awarded the Thomas Munsterman Award for Jury Innovation by the National Center for State Courts. Judge Gull has dedicated the past 10 years of her career to electronically upgrading Allen County's Superior Court jury management system. The organization said in a press release issued at the time of the award that she assisted with the establishment of juror, which allows constituents to perform several juror-related tasks electronically. Francis Gull was first elected to her position in 1996 and has been reelected in every subsequent election since then. According to her biography on the Allen Superior Court, her commission began in January of 1997. During her nearly 25 years on the bench, Judge Francis Gull has gained statewide and national renown as an innovator in areas including jury management, restorative justice, and the use of technology in the court system. Francis Gull has been a person who has stood behind cameras in the courtroom. She was one of the judges who piloted the program in her own courtroom. And so she has always been a person who believes in cameras in the courtroom. Since 2002, Francis Gull has supervised Allen County's nationally renowned drug court program. The program, which promotes recovery from addiction and restoration of families that have been torn apart by substance abuse. In 2020, the program was approaching 1,000 graduates, making it among the most successful and impactful in the country. Gull received her law degree from Valparaiso University School of Law, which shuttered in 2020. Gull's first legal job was clerking for the court, where she would eventually serve as a judge. For nearly 10 years, from 1987 to 1996, she worked in the Allen County Prosecutor's Office. So she has extensive history and extensive what am I trying to say? Sorry. My mind just went blank, you guys. I'm so sorry. Extensive experience as a superior judge, court judge. As I've stated before, she's on the short list for the Indiana Supreme Court. I fully expect her, if health and everything else stays status quo, I feel she will get it. As far as the death penalty, you guys, the death penalty can be brought into this case clear up until the trial day, the first day of the trial. He can bring up the death penalty. So that is why the attorneys had to be death penalty qualified when they were appointed, because this is a death penalty case if the prosecution chooses it to be. And I think that one of the things that people also need to understand that I see being discussed in the chat, we may never know motive, you guys. I've talked about this for years. I've talked about it on Reddit. I've talked about it here. We may never know why this crime happened, and people need to get their head around that. Sometimes these perpetrators don't tell why they do what they do. Now, do experts, will psychiatrists and forensic psychiatrists and stuff try to analyze this case and this perpetrator if he's convicted? Of course. They're going to try to figure out why or what drove this. But yeah, we may just never know. Hey, Boston, how are you? So good to see you. Boy, have they. YouTubers have run amok. It isn't just YouTubers either. It's Facebookers, Redditors, TikTokers. They're all over that are writing to the court. They're not just not YouTubers. Let's see. Squeaky Wheel says, I'm becoming increasingly worried about a couple of stealth jurors making it onto the panel simply to ensure there's a hung jury. Anybody claiming they haven't heard of this case should be. I will tell you that these prosecutors and attorneys they're not new to jury selection. There are a lot of ways to weed this kind of thing out. These people will be looked at meticulously by both sides. And trust me, they will do everything in their power to seat 12 jurors who claim and state under oath that they can make a decision on this case based only on the evidence they hear in the courtroom. Because to sit on a jury, you guys, that's what you have to do. You have to state under oath that you will put aside all of your biases, all of your preconceived notions about murder and murderers and all of that, and only look at the evidence that's given to you. It is not easy sitting on a jury. For everyone who thinks that it is, you don't have a clue, because it's not easy as human beings to just disregard the things that the values and the things that we have that make us who we are. And we're supposed to, as a juror, we are supposed to only look at the evidence presented to us and not let anything else cloud our judgment or come into play. And yeah, so that takes a pretty special type of person to be able to do that. And that's why I said, I'm not so sure that I would ever want to sit on a jury where someone's life was in my hands. So I think the courthouse will be very secured. I think you're going to see security like you've never seen before in the Carroll County court system. I think that they will bring in state troopers and people from other counties to help out. And I think they definitely will keep everyone safe. Thanks, Blind Squirrel. Let's see. So there is an expert witness fund out there. I looked at it before I came live, and I think it's $25,000 right now is what they've raised for that. And believe it or not, you guys, crowdfunding and crowdsourcing for funds in these types of cases, from what I understand, is not unusual. And especially when you have an indigent person who's on trial. We talked about this. There are not unlimited funds for the things that the defense wants. They can ask for the moon. That doesn't mean they're going to get it. The state and the county pay for this trial. They have to have something in place to have a check and balance system. So you know what I mean? It's just like one of those things that you have to keep in mind when you're thinking about this. This isn't a person like a Murdaugh who has tons and tons of money that can put in for his defense and pay all these high class expert witnesses that cost lots of money. You have to pay for their housing. You have to pay for them to come in, to fly in. You have to pay for their expertise. And all of that costs money. So I don't have a problem with them raising money. I know I checked into the company that is the crowdsourcing is going through, and he won't get any of that money, nor will his defense team. That money will only go to the experts that they're using it for, and the company will make sure of that. Sorry. Sorry. Thank you so much for your super chat. I appreciate it. And it's based, not biased. And I get that. Thank you. Hope it wasn't me reading it wrong. Maybe it was, I don't know. But anyway, I'm glad that we rectified that. But yeah, I don't believe she's biased. Oh, Carol, it says behind Kristen, behind the crime door. It's my logo. They're in my shop, in my merch. You can go get them. They're on my homepage of the channel. Hey, Grizz, how are you? Good to see you. Oh, Gail, thank you so much for becoming a member. Oh, Gail, thank you so much for gifting 5 memberships. Hey, guys, make sure you go check out to see who got those. Hey, Aspen, how are you? I'm so glad you're here. So glad to have you. Yeah, unfortunately, Squeaky, there is no guarantees. There's no guarantees in life, though, right? So, I mean, we can't be 100% guaranteed, but I will tell you, they know how to weed these people out. And if these people think they're going to be smarter than the people choosing the jury, they might think twice. And I get this, I get people getting nervous and worried and all of that. There are cases where you think it's going to go a certain way, and majority of people think it's going to go a certain way, and it doesn't. And that can be very, very upsetting. And I get that. And all I can say to that is, if you guys think you're going to be upset by a verdict in this case, imagine being a member of the family. Imagine being one of the girls' mothers, grandmothers, sisters, aunts, a grandfather, an uncle, a best friend. Imagine how they're going to feel, you guys. Imagine how they're going to feel. Hey, Sharon, how are you? Good to see you. Welcome, Christy B. I'll answer the questions at the end of the live stream, but thank you so much for answering or asking questions. We can't learn if we don't ask questions. I ask questions all the time. Hey, Robin B. Good to see you. Hi, Julie. Completely agree with you. I didn't say to blindly give respect. I'm talking about respecting authority and you don't have to respect the person in the position, but you need to respect the position. So do you understand what I'm saying? Not being disrespectful to them. There is a way to agree or disagree with people in authority without being disrespectful. And I don't believe that we should blindly give anything to anyone. I think that we should become self-aware, but that's not what happens in this world. Most people don't think for themselves. Most people listen to the masses. They listen um, to narratives, and they don't go and research themselves. They don't go and read themselves for themselves. I mean, it's blatantly apparent in our world right now that we don't have a lot of critical thinkers anymore. We have people who are unable to do that for themselves. And I get it. There's a lot of things I still question about this case. I'm not 100% sure of anything. Um, do I feel in my heart that law enforcement has enough to convict this man? Yes, I do. Yes, I do. Do I feel that that is um, a biased opinion? No. I'm going with the facts of the case. I have nothing against Richard Allen. I mean, I have nothing against him at all, except for the fact that I believe that he was there that day and admittedly um, did what he said he did. Oh, geez, that's not good, Derek. So, um, what's going to happen if we don't get cameras in the courtroom? Um, how's that going to play out? Well, we're going to get the media, the print media, the main media in the country covering this case, and they're going to have their reporters there, and they will give us wrap-ups throughout the day, at night. They'll have people outside the courthouse. And I guarantee you, for sure, if there's no cameras in the courtroom, there will be tons and tons of reporters and satellites trucks outside that courthouse. Because they're going to want to stream it, and they'll be talking about it as it's going on outside. For those of you that weren't alive or were too small or too young to remember the O.J. Simpson trial, I lived through that trial and followed it religiously. And it was a circus, you guys. They had so much media coverage that both sides started playing to the cameras. And I think Fran Gull, because of what she's seen, is worried and worried about what might transpire. And I don't think she's worried for the state. I think she's worried for the defendant, because cameras in the courtroom can be detrimental to defendants. People don't understand that, but it's the truth. And there's a psychology to it, because if you have a camera constantly focused on a defendant and his face, and every single looking and trying to analyze every single look or lack of look or response for what's happening in the courtroom, that can be very biased. And that's why you'll see when they do have court coverage, there is always usually limited camera coverage of the said defendant. Um, so, let's see. Yeah. Mistakes made in the investigation, but not intentionally done, nor part of an all law enforcement conspiracy. I too agree with CJK here. I find more fault with the defense, who leaked major stuff in this case. Major. And it was intentional and let's see. Go. It was intentional, and I also feel that they were trying to play to social media and to the general public their case. I've said that all along. That's what they were doing in their filings. That's what they've been doing in their motions. The Frank's motion that they did was a joke. Many of their motions have been a joke. But again, the defense is supposed to defend the client and any way they can possibly defend him within the parameters of the law. And they have a long leash, so to speak. They're able to do many of things that the prosecution could never get away with. They can say things and do things they don't have to prove. And they've done just that. They have brought up all this stuff about Odinism and Odinites, which isn't a word, by the way. It's a rock. And, they have brought up some stuff. And Fran Gull came out today. Judge Gull came out today, and let's look and see what happened. She did a motion today denying the defense once again. So the court, having had defendant's motion to dismiss for destroying exculpatory evidence under advisement following a hearing conducted on March 18th, 2024, now denies the motion to dismiss, as the defendant has failed to show that the evidence was exculpatory and that it was destroyed negligently, intentionally, or in bad faith. The recordings of interviews between February 14th through the 20th of 2017 were lost due to human error or were spontaneously lost due to the equipment resetting. At the time the interview of Brad Holder was lost, he was not a key suspect in the case. The interview was memorialized in a written report provided to the defendant. Patrick Westfall was interviewed at his home by FBI agents. That interview was not recorded, but was documented in a written report provided to the defendant. Patrick Westfall was not a key suspect in the case at the time of the interview. As neither Holder nor Westfall were suspects at the time the interviews were conducted, the defendant has failed to show that the lost interview of Holder was material, and the lack of a record or recorded interview of Westfall was material. As the defendant must establish materiality to claim a denial of due process, and Allen has failed to do so, his due process rights have not been violated. So there you have it. Another denial. Now, a lot of people are going to say she's biased because of this, but she explains exactly why it was denied. Merely saying or stating that you feel that there was something nefarious being done when this happened doesn't make it true, doesn't make it factual. You have to have evidence of such. They have no evidence. that law enforcement deliberately got rid of any of this stuff. And I'm here to tell you, stop and think about it, you guys. How many law enforcement officers do you think on this case wanted way back when in the day in 2017 to do something to keep from finding the person who committed this horrific crime? It's just beyond me. I mean, there's just so much conspiracy theorists out there now in the world. They've come out of the woodwork, and everything to them is a conspiracy now. And I said it before, if you really thought there was a conspiracy in this case, if you even had a clue as to how many people would have to be involved to keep it and to keep the secrets and to know all the stuff, it's not going to happen. There's just no way it's going to happen. So, let's see. Hi, Melissa. I'm so sorry, honey, to hear about your dad. Um, I'm sure that it has been a crazy time for you. Take care of yourself is my best advice that I can give you. I lost both of my parents within a month of each other, and I completely spiraled into a horrific depression. So I totally understand, and my heart absolutely goes out to you. And we're here for you. We're thinking about you, but don't worry about YouTube and what's going on here. Take care of yourself. Um, oh, hang on, let's see. Trying to catch up with chat, you guys. I'm a little behind, and I'm sorry. Um, Sally says, I'm in Indiana. 2 siblings are detectives, and they are mortified by the mistakes. It's not acceptable. Well, I mean, I get it. I mean, nobody wants mistakes, and especially in this kind of a case, you don't want mistakes, but mistakes happen. Um, hey Joe, how are you? Good to see you. Um, nope, nothing is ever written in stone. He could plead um, out, but only if the prosecution offers him a plea deal. He can't plea unless the state agrees. And right now, I don't see it happening. That's my opinion. I know there's others with other opinions. My opinion is they don't want him. They don't want to offer him a plea at this point in time. That's just my feeling. Um, and yeah, pleas happen. They happen every day, and they happen for a lot of reasons. And the most reason is money, because these trials cost so much money. And so they if they took every single case to trial, our court systems couldn't handle it, and they would never ever be able to get through the voluminous amounts of cases before our courts. um hey Shadowbox, how are you, my dear? I was just thinking about you today. um I was using something you sent me, and I was thinking about you. So good to see you. So good to see you. Um, Yeah, Derek, that's a problem too, because um, part of the issues with sequestering jurors, and when you take a jury like this, these people have to be chosen. They have to be willing to give up their lives basically for set amount of time. And if they're sequestered, as this jury will be, they're going to be sent to a hotel and they're going to have to stay there for the length of the trial. And that's a lot to have to give up for people who jurors don't make any money from jury duty. And if you don't work for an employer who compensates, now I worked for a hospital. So when I was on jury duty, I got paid just like I was at work. They considered it my civic duty, and they paid us just as if we were at work. So my jury pay was not something I had to rely on. I was able to get paid by my employer, but everybody doesn't have that same ability. Yes, Carol, you're absolutely right. And the Brian Koberger trial or case, because the trial hasn't happened yet, the judge got upset because the media was focusing so much on Brian Koberger, and every single eye twitch and smile and everything he was doing, that the judge took control of the camera and who and where it was able to be focused upon, which makes sense. So another thing I want to talk about, they're making such a big deal that these so-called recordings of witnesses interviews were lost or destroyed. First of all, I said it, and I'm going to say it again. This is a very small police department, very small county. I've been to Delphi. I've seen it. You wouldn't believe how small the building is, the county jail. It's small. I mean, it is small, you guys. And so here you are. What happens to old-fashioned police work? Good old-fashioned police work, where people were told to go out and canvass neighborhoods and interview people. They didn't have cameras in their faces. They didn't have recordings of them. They would take notes about what was said, what was asked, and then they would have to come back to the station and write up reports. And they still have to write up reports to this very day, even with social media or with technology where we are today. They still have to do that. They still have to write their reports. As Judge Gull said in her decision, the reports were written up for these individuals, and they were provided to the defense. So there's nothing they're missing. And again, this is what the defense does, and this is what they're going to do. They're going to make a big deal out of nothing because they want everybody to think, oh my God, they got rid of some evidence. They did it on purpose. What else have they done? And the people that believe this and that are crying for it, they're getting exactly what they want. They are getting exactly what they want. And I've said it before. They don't want us focusing on their client. They want us focusing on everything else but his guilt. They want us looking away from him. They want us talking about other things. They want us talking about lost evidence and magic bullets. I think it's a joke that they've come up with some kind of a word now, and they're calling the bullet in this case magic. And it's just insane. I think it's I think it's just crazy. Um, I can vouch for the FBI and say, I've said it and I'm going to say it again. There is people in this country that believe the FBI is corrupt as they come, and I don't buy it. I also believe that the FBI is the strongest, most technologically advanced law enforcement um, agency in the world. And that's why other law enforcement agencies all over the world turn to the FBI when things happen to their citizens in other countries. They go to the FBI and, can you help us? Is there something that you can do? Um, it's like, good Lord, wake up and realize how good we have what we have. These men and women that give their lives to law enforcement. And is there bad people in law enforcement? Sure. Sure. Um, are there law enforcement officers that shouldn't be law enforcement officers? Yes, absolutely there are. But that doesn't mean that the whole pot is tainted. It doesn't mean that everyone in there is of the same cloth. And I just believe that, it's just ridiculous. And I know that, the Saint, I do. They also are in Australia and Germany and France and Italy and Spain and Mexico. There's Canada. There's a ton of countries that go to the FBI when they need certain things because they know how good the FBI is. And it's just crazy to me that Americans tend to forget how good we have it. Um Somebody asked about a transcript. Will there be a transcript of the trial? Yes, there will, and you'll have to pay for it. If you want to get a transcript of a trial proceeding, and especially a long one, be prepared to fork out big bucks because there will be a transcript, but it's going to cost you money to get it. That's a lot of pages. A lot of pages. Yes, sorry. Yes, squeaky wheel. The defense has a written summary of every interview that was done in their discovery packages. But because they want the recorded interview, and I'm not saying that I wouldn't want it as a defense attorney either. I'm sure that I would want a recording. But does that mean that it's going to hamper them? No. They're making a mountain out of a molehill. There is a lot of disinformation out there about the FBI, just like there's a lot of disinformation out there about so many things. And so many people rely on what they read on the internet. And, it cracks me up because sometimes when you click on a story and I want to agree with it or like it or whatever. And now they have it come up and say, have you read it? Sorry, guys, I got to take my hat off. I'm sweating. I'm a sweat and It got kind of warm here in the spider room. I keep it a lot warmer in here now because of my spiders. And so, yeah. Oh, yeah. My Starbucks. Are you kidding? Yeah. Got, gotta have my Starbucks. Um, as far as I know, if the confessions are tossed, then that means that they cannot be brought in as evidence, so they're not part of the trial. The only time the public ever get to hear them would be if somebody close to the case talked about them. Oh, Derek, that's funny. I'm gonna do a video here real soon for my members that want to know more about my spiders because people have talked about it and that was one of the things, and I'll talk about that a little bit at the end here. I'm getting ready to wrap things up, but I would um we can talk about that in just a minute. And I'll talk a little bit more about the spiders and how I'm going to incorporate that into my channel. Um, yes, you did get it spelled right. It's Kristen. Kristin. Kristen with an I. Hey, Sparky. Hey, Witchcraft. Hey, Aspen. CJK not throwing personal shade, but Grizzly True Crime posted Gull's email address and encouraged her viewers to write to the court. I can't believe she did that. I mean, I absolutely cannot believe that that woman did that. I don't understand why she did that. I just don't understand why these creators think that they have to do that. I mean, it's crazy. I mean, I understand that people want to watch, but it's not some of these letters, you guys. I, I, I don't know if you guys have seen it, but it just cracks me up. Here's one from Paige Moore. Judge Gull, as a concerned citizen of the United States, I would like to request full transparency in the Richard Allen trial for various reasons that will be listed. Number one, the Constitution says that the accused shall enjoy the right to a speedy and public trial. Only citation. Number two, the first recordings of Patrick Westhall, she doesn't even have his name right, and other suspects named by the defense have been mysteriously lost. Number three, the original polygrapher of Elvis Fields has mysteriously died in a house fire, and both his sisters passed a polygraph saying he told them he was there and spit, as well as made horns on one of the victims. Number four, there is no DNA evidence or geofencing that puts Mr. Allen at the crime scene. I don't know how this Paige Moore thinks she knows these things, but she obviously knows more than the rest of us. Number five, Mr. Allen was denied funds for expert witnesses, even though Americans are guaranteed a fair trial. Expert witnesses are needed for forced confessions and bullet markings. 6, the world is watching, and even more will join if Mr. Allen's right to a fair and public trial are not adhered to. It's just a joke, you guys. I mean, it's seriously just a joke. Just a joke. Let's see. Hold on a second here. Sorry, I'm looking for something else. Hold on a moment. So here's another one, and this one is from Stephanie Cope. Judge Gull, I'll get straight to the point. I've watched every phase this case gone through, like many others. Again, no spell check, no checking for punctuation. It's shocking and disturbing seeing Mr. Allen and now his public defenders treated so unjust. I can't not understand the lack of self-awareness you have concerning your own biased feelings. You have a duty to serve for your elected position. Cameras could provide some of the trust back that you damaged. You are embarrassing your state. I'm glad I don't reside in Indiana as well as any family. You're also damaging the justice these girls deserve, as well as your police department. Start somewhere making this right, or just keep speeding down a one-way street you barreled down so recklessly. Sorry for my bluntness. I was reminded to not be rude, but it's rude to make a mess out of a tragedy. Stephanie C., Louisville, Kentucky. If my whole name is needed, I will provide it. I trust no one. Really? Hilarious. She gave her whole name in the email that has to go as into the court. It just cracks me up. Cracks me up. You're going to write the court, it's going to go into the court. Dear Judge Gull, this is from Oscar Lopez. I'm emailing you as a concerned citizen. Your decision to ban coverage of the Richard Allen trial is quite unfortunate. You have decided to severely limit transparency in this case, despite the lack of trust from the public. I have serious doubts that you, the judge presiding over this case, is capable of being a fair and impartial judge in this case. This feeling is based on the extensive precedent you have set throughout this entire case. Time and time again, your rulings have been questioned, and some have been overturned by the Indiana Supreme Court. Let's just correct that right there. Only one was overturned by the Supreme Court. All of the other rulings were upheld. Our country's justice system is being heavily questioned worldwide because of everything that has been happening in this case. The question is, why are all these irregularities occurring? I have no doubt that you are a capable judge, so why expose your reputation in such a manner? Constitutional right are being violated, and you seem to be okay with that. But why? When situations like these arise, it is the public's responsibility to speak up and demand accountability. If things don't change, I will do everything in my power to have you and the prosecutors in this case investigated by the U.S. Department of Justice for blatantly violating Mr. Allen's constitutional rights. In the name of transparency, I implore you to reconsider your decision and allow live coverage, including cameras, in the upcoming trial. I get that these people are upset, but you don't go and tell a judge that you're going to do everything in your power to have them investigated by the U.S. Department of Justice. First of all, this person has no idea what they're talking about because they have no say in anything. The Department of Justice isn't going to listen to them. It's a joke. I mean, it's just a joke. I don't understand why people keep inserting themselves into this case. And, it's like, no, I wasn't talking about me being rude. Christy, not me. Sorry, I thought you were talking about Kristen. I was like, what? I didn't say anything about being rude. Let's see. Trial by social media, for sure. And yeah, I think the confessions are going to come out one way or another, because I think that once the trial is over, no matter what happens, people are going to write books, movies will be made about this case, and people will talk about what they know and what didn't get into the fact-based evidence. And as far as I'm concerned, there's no reason that the confession should ever be thrown out in this case, from what I know. Now, if there is something that I don't know, um, I don't believe these confessions were coerced in any way, shape, or form. Coerced confessions come from when a person is being interrogated by law enforcement, um, 99% of the time. And that's not what we see here. Um, 63 Clock says, at Squeaky Wheel, I suppose so, but the world knows of the depth of injustice happening in South Africa. Surely a legit person would spend their time and attention looking at their own backyard. You would certainly think so, but they don't have the cases and the coverage, and your YouTube channel's not going to soar to make it a full-time job for you monetarily if you're not covering very high profile cases. People in the true crime genre want those cases covered. And I'm not saying anything about her, about Grizzly here. I really do like her. And I do respect her. I just don't know why she would do that, about putting out Judge Gull's email address. That's just ridiculous. Because there's crazy people on the internet, you guys. There's crazy people that follow this case. And if you haven't seen it, lucky for you. But there are people that are just a tad off. It's just insane. Hey, Ruckus. How are you, my dear? Good to see you. Always good to see you. Glad you're here. So yeah, I mean, they just keep writing letters, and they keep, none of it's going to happen. None of it's going to matter. None of that is going to, it's going to be put into the record, but it's not, it's going to have no bearing whatsoever on this case. Nothing. So, I firmly believe, like I said, that we're quickly rushing to trial. It's next month. I can't believe that 2 weeks from today I will go under the knife for my knee replacement surgery. And I've been waiting, it seems like forever for it. And I'm thankful that I'm finally in a place physically, emotionally, and I'm ready for it. I continue to do extremely well with my gastric sleeve surgery that I had in August, and I have lost 185 pounds. I feel like a whole new person. And you guys have been there with me. A lot of you have been there with me for this. And I'm thankful and grateful for that. But yeah, I mean, I'm going to be in the throes of constant therapy during this trial. So thank you, Kara. I hope so. My sister is a physical therapist, and she lives about 3.5 hours away from me. And she said if I have to come up there, she would. But yeah, I have all intention of sticking with the therapy and doing all of the exercises and everything. I want to get my full range of motion back. I want to be able to do things with my grandsons, especially my soon to be 7-year-old. And, I'm like, I just really want to have that. It's like the last little piece that's left on this health journey that I began way back in July of 2022. If you can believe that, you guys, July of 2022 is when I was diagnosed with diabetes, and I was so, so sick and so, so sick. My asthma was out of control, and it was just my heart. I was having all kinds of issues with that. Didn't know it at the time, but actually was diagnosed in October of 2022 with SVT. And the cardiologist told me that the SVT that I have, I've probably had since birth. And for those of you that don't know what SVTs are, it's supraventricular tachycardia, and it's a type of irregular heartbeat. And it's very, very fast and erratic, and it affects the upper chambers of the heart. And it is, oh my Lord, when I was having it, I had it for a year before I told anybody that I was having them. And when I had the SVTs, they were happening once a month, and then they just started happening like daily, and I was having them really a lot, and that's what happened. So, but I was in intensive care. Steve from True Crime Web came to my rescue of my channel back then. And I just, I was like, oh, what am I going to do? And so I set out on the journey to change my life and to get healthy again. And I made the decision to do bariatric surgery because I knew I needed to lose all the weight that I had gained when my parents passed away. I was still in the throes of depression, from, I think, to some degree, from the death of my son. But I had been going through therapy for that for years and years. So I really feel that I had a pretty good handle on that. But when I lost my mom and my dad, that was a really, really hard time for me. And that happened in September and October of 2017. So 2017 was a huge year. I mean, I told you guys before, when Abby and Libby went missing, my mom was in the nursing home, and she was a huge true crime person. She followed it for years and years and years, all kinds of cases. And so she and I discussed this case, and we were talking about it and everything. So, yeah, it was a huge blow. And my heart goes out to Melissa, who follows me, who's been part of my channel subscribers for almost 2 years, I believe, at this point. And yeah, I feel for her after just losing her father. It's just hard. But yeah, I went through Easter. I started to tell you guys, I wanted to give you guys kind of a little update here. I had Easter with my family, and we had such a wonderful weekend and a great Sunday. And we all met for a brunch and at a hotel here locally. And so after the brunch, we went to a place here in town called the World's Most Beautiful Drive. In fact, the CBS TV station in town, the call letters are WMBD, and Teddy Roosevelt is the one who called this drive that name. um, back when he was the president. He came through and said that it was the world's most beautiful drive. And it sits up on a cliff, this drive, and there's just enormous, beautiful homes. But the drive itself looks out over the Illinois River Valley. And it's like, so you're up on a cliff for the drive, and you can just see the river and everything, and you can see for miles. It's beautiful. So we just happened out there for family pictures, and my oldest grandson proposed to his girlfriend in front of us. And so my oldest grandson is now engaged. And I tell you what, I cannot believe it. I'm like, it's crazy, you guys. It's just crazy how things happen and you just don't expect. But let's see. Thanks, Lynn. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I will definitely be pushing my protein. The higher, protein really helps us heal. And so you have to make sure you hit your protein goals and stuff. So I will definitely make sure about that. Gail, thank you so much for another gifted membership. You're awesome. Thank you. Thank you. And I know a lot of people have talked about the community and the things that are going on in the community. And I just want to bring people back together and remind everyone what I have always said. Choose your content wisely. When you are listening out there, try to listen with an open mind. And even though somebody may not agree with you, you don't have to be rude and you don't have to make it personal. Yeah, Lisa, I know. Well, so far so good. They're not pregnant, so that's good. But I know they want to have a baby at some point, so they've talked about that. So we'll see. Let's hope they wait for a while. I think they're probably not going to get married until sometime next year. So that's what the plan is now. But yeah, we'll just have to see. So yeah, I'm going to have to help plan a wedding. I'm like excited about that. I think that'll be fun. So, I am a member of a few channels on YouTube, and these are the people that I support, that I truly support and believe in. If for any reason those people, were to become different people than what I think they are, then I wouldn't be members anymore, you know? Hey, Mitzi, thank you so much for your super sticker. I appreciate it, my dear. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you, Mary. Thank you. Thank you. I just watched a YouTube video a couple of nights ago of a knee replacement surgery. It was an actual knee replacement surgery. They showed everything, and it scared me. And I was like, well, I might not have wanted to do that, but I always am. I'm a very, my background is medical, and that's what I did for years. And I'm like, sometimes too much, and sometimes way too much of what you should know. And so, and I think that can be a detriment to us, but I was like, good Lord. I mean, I always knew that part of the operating rooms at the hospital, you could always hear the banging and the sawing and the clattering and all of that. But good Lord, you guys, wow. Yeah, CJK. I'm really thankful that I have two very level-headed kids. My grandson and my new granddaughter don't want to do a really expensive, super costly wedding. They don't want to do that. So I'm really happy that they're smart. They're being smart about that. because weddings can be so absolutely crazy expensive. Yeah. And so, yeah, oh man. Um, yeah, it's, everything I was actually with my judge friend that I've told you guys about so many times. I was with him today, and I was in the car with him, and we were talking about my knee surgery because he's had knee surgery and shoulder surgery and replacement. And he told me, he said, it'll be the best thing you ever did. He goes, absolutely. He goes, you will feel, it'll just be great. He goes, you're young enough still. You, he said, you're going to heal well, because I've turned the diabetes around, you guys. I'm no longer diabetic. I'm normal and have been for well over a year, my sugars. So, to say that you can't reverse diabetes, you can. And it takes a lot of work, exercise, eating right. And I absolutely could not have done it without Manjaro. Because being placed upon that drug, I lost nearly 90 pounds before I had my gastric sleeve surgery. So, yeah, I'm just saying, you guys, it's been a lifesaver for me. Um, yeah, well, it's Ruckus. You've heard that 90% of Ruckus's surgeries have all been cosmetic. Well, he's a handsome guy. There's no doubt about that. You know, he likes to pick on himself a lot, but Ruckus is a good guy. He's harsh. I don't always agree with everything he says, but I respect him, and I respect his knowledge and where it comes from, and I think he has a good heart. Um, and I definitely think that he cares about justice for Abby and Libby in this case, and that's enough for me. Um, so Ruckus is funny. He makes me laugh, and I spent 11 hours talking to that man, and I absolutely can tell you that it was not unpleasant. It was a pleasant experience. Um, and, if I have to do it again for the trial, I will. So, and I get it because Steve from True Crime Web, Steve and Ruckus have spent hours and hours upon hours together, and so trust Steve and him, and he thinks that Ruckus is a good guy too. So there you go. Um, Annabelle, that's wonderful. Great, great for you. Thank you so much, Robin. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. I'm still planning at this point in time of being in Delphi on Saturday for the Memorial Walk. So anybody that comes out to that, I should be there. That's my plan, unless something crazy happens. My knee some days is good and some days are bad. So if it's a really bad day when I wake up that morning to where I don't think I'd be able to make the walk, I probably won't come, but I really, really want to come. I've told Becky that I want to meet her that day. And so I really want to be able to do it. But if I can't make this one for whatever reason, I'll definitely be at the one in the fall. So with my new knee. Oh, Mary, that's awesome. I'm excited. Thank you, Kara. I'm really glad. I'm so glad. I hope that's true. I'm going into it with a really good mindset. So, or I'm trying to. Who's 24, Aspen? Ruckus? Ruckus is 24? God, that must mean I'm 21. Awesome. Anybody who goes, you will not be sorry. It is an amazing experience if you've never been out there. It gives you a whole new perspective on the whole day, of what the girls would have gone through that day. You can kind of get an idea of the terrain and where they were. Pictures, I've just said it before, pictures don't do it justice. It's kind of like seeing the Grand Canyon in a photograph and then going there and seeing it. You just can't. Hey, Yvonne Darwin, how are you? Good to see you. So yeah, it'll be worth it, you guys. So what my plan is, I've got a plan in mind where I'm going to possibly redo part of what I cover on my channel. I'm going to have my true crime side, I'm going to have my spiders side, and I even may do some diamond painting in there. So I'm kind of trying to come up with that, but that's one of the things that I'm kind of thinking about, because everybody, yeah, Ruckus was in here, Yvonne. And let's see. Thank you, Priscilla of Boston. Thank you so much. I think about them all the time as well. And yeah, I have a whole different feeling since I was there in October. And yeah, but yeah. So yeah, trigger warning for those of you who are afraid of spiders. But I will tell you that I used to be definitely, absolutely afraid of spiders, but I'm not afraid of them anymore. In fact, I love them. And I started out with jumping spiders. And it happened that I just happened upon a channel on YouTube one time, and I started watching it. And it's just crazy, you guys. I started watching this channel, fell in love with these jumping spiders, and then 2 appeared on my front door last spring. Like early spring, May, somewhere around in May. And so I caught them. I just caught them and put them in these little, and I've gotten into building little enclosures for them, and I'm going to show you a couple real quick. Here's one. This is my jumping spider, Chai. And you can't see her right now because she's up here in her hide up here. But this is one of her little enclosures that I made for her. And I love the decorating of them and doing cute things with them because it brings out the creative side of me. But this is my first spider. So this is Wednesday. Wednesday is a Phidippus audax, and she is a bold jumping spider, which is the kind of jumping spiders that we have here in Illinois. And she's black. And she was out, I think, here she is. I don't think you guys are going to be able to see her very well, but she's up here in the top of this rose is where she's sitting. But she is, yes, from the Addams family. She is the first one that I got off of my front door, and she laid an egg sac almost immediately after I put her in here and started feeding her fruit flies. And the thing about jumping spiders is that once they breed with a male, they can continue to lay egg sacs for multiple times. They don't have to breed every time. So I didn't know that at the time, but anyway, so she ended up laying 3 egg sacs for me. And so anyway, upon doing that, I ended up with all these babies. So I had to do something with them. So, you're hilarious, Ruckus. So, I started raising the babies, And so I have a few of her babies that I still kept. And then others I given away, and believe it or not, people wanted them. And so, yeah, done that. Well, then I thought, I want some more jumping spiders. And so I found online a couple places where you can order them. And I got this one is this jumping spider is one of my regal jumping spiders. Phidippus regis is the scientific name. And she is adorable. I absolutely love her. And her name is Antoinette. And here is her enclosure. It's a coffin crib. I love tarantula cribs. It is a company out of St. Louis, and they make tarantula enclosures, and you can use them for jumping spiders. But look at this, you guys. It's a coffin. It's a coffin crib. I love it. But yeah, she's right here on the side. Can you guys, I'm going to get her up as close to the camera as I can, you guys. Can you see her? And she's right there. She's not that big, but they have the biggest eyes. Their fangs are metallic green, and they are so cute. I mean, just so cute. So I have her, and I have her mate. Oh, hold on a second. Oops. There we go. Sorry. I was trying to get it. He's jumping all around, and I wanted to get it. But this is a male Phidippus regis, which is a regal jumping spider. These come from southern United States, usually down in the Florida areas and places like that. And so anyway, this is his enclosure that I made for him. I know it's kind of hard to see with the light, the way the light's shining there. You can see it better. And I made this one for him. And his name is Caesar, and he's up here. You can kind of see him. He's crawling all around. The males tend to travel a lot. They're constantly looking for a female. So, so anyway, that's him. And then I have my tarantulas. So I have, oh, there you are, you little stinker. You fell off the roof. Currently, I have 38 tarantulas. They are spoiled. They're very spoiled. I don't know what to tell you, but yeah. So this is Morticia. You can kind of see her up here on the back. She's right there. And she is an Amazon jewel tarantula. And she will be absolutely beautiful when she's an adult. But her name is Morticia. And so that's her enclosure. So yeah, guys, I have a lot of them. I have two I have two scorpions. I am a Scorpio, so I had to get scorpion. My first scorpion, his name is a Asian forest scorpion, and his name is Venom, and he is super cool. And what I'm going to do is, for people who want to watch and want to know about my spiders and stuff, I'm going to do some videos. And he has a really cool thing. If you take a black light and shine it into his hide down under the ground where he lives, he fluoresces, and he's fluorescent. It is the coolest thing. For those of you who don't know about scorpions, they fluoresce. So I have an Asian forest scorpion, and I also have an Arizona bark scorpion. My Arizona bark scorpion is only 2 inches long. It's a baby. And so, and I love them. They are just the coolest. I just love them. I just think they're the coolest thing ever. And honestly, you guys, this hobby has really been a lifesaver for me because it gave me an out for some things that I needed. And it's easy. I mean, I'm here at home. I'm able to take care of them, and it's not I can go anywhere and leave them. I don't have to worry about it. And so, Thistle, you're hilarious. I have no idea. I do not know if crabs do, but I do know that scorpions do. Um, but my I told you guys this, I think, a week or so ago, but I went to Tenley Park up in Chicago. I took my oldest grandson and his girlfriend, a fiance now, and I took my soon to be 7-year-old grandson. And we went to the North American Reptile Breeders Convention. Man, you guys, you have never seen so many snakes and so many spiders and lizards and bearded dragons and chameleons. And my God, you would not have believed it if I had told you. It was so much fun. Well, my oldest grandson and I ended up holding an anaconda. An anaconda, you guys, a 50-pound anaconda. And nothing's wrong with them. I have a cat. I used to have dogs. After I lost my last dog, it was so painful to have to say goodbye to him during COVID. I lost him to cancer. And good night, Ruckus. Good night. Sleep well. I had to say goodbye to him, and I was just like, that's the tough part of owning a dog or a cat. Eventually, you're going to have to say goodbye to them, and I just was tired of that. I had my golden retriever lived to be 13 and ended up with cancer. I had my Yorkie who lived to be 18, and he was really sick when I had to finally put him down. I had 2 Gordon setters, and I lost both of them at the age of 12 and 15. I mean, it's just really hard to say goodbye to them. And so I thought, you know what? I can still do spiders. I can get attached to them, and I know that their lifespans aren't as long, but these tarantulas, if they're female, can live 30 years, you guys. Oh, Gladys, I'm so sorry to hear that. It is so, so, so sad when they go away. When you lose them and they've been a part of your world for so long, so sad. And most of the time they're our best friends, right? They're there with us when we're crying. They're there with us when we're happy. They're always there to greet us when we walk in the house. Everybody who follows me on a regular knows about Finn. And he's my cat. And he's a black and white tuxedo. And he is my life. That cat is all over me constantly. And he is absolutely hilarious. Now that I have all these spiders, he's not as interested in the spiders as everybody asks me all the time. Kristen, is he interested in the spiders? No, he's interested in the damn crickets that I feed the spiders. He wants to get to the crickets. It's just crazy. But while we were up in Tenley, my grandson bought a California king snake, and she's 7 months old. She's just the cutest thing ever. And his mom wouldn't let him have it at his house. So I have the snake, and she's over here now on my veranda thing that sits in my office. So yeah, you guys. So now I have a snake that I have to keep until he moves out. I know it won't be as long as I think, but yeah, it's all right. She's pretty cool, and her enclosure is pretty awesome. But anyway, you guys, thank you so much for hanging out with me. I really appreciate all of you. I hope that the discussion tonight was helpful to some. Um, and I know how this case can get to all of us, and how it really makes us, um, go at times, because it is a terrarium. You're right. It is, but it's, it's my happy place. Okay. It's my happy spot. It's my happy place. And I have people now who say, Kristen, we're not coming over. You have spiders? I'm not coming over. These spiders cannot get out, you guys. They cannot get out. So if, but that's the way to keep people away from you. It's just to tell you, get a spider, keep a spider. Jumping spiders, let me show you really quick for those of you that don't know how cute they are, because I have to. I just have to show you, because it's like some people know and some people just don't know. But let's just take a look real quick, and I'll leave you with these adorable pictures of these babies of mine, and then you can listen or look at them and listen to Tech Desk music. And hold on a sec. And you'll see why I love them so much. This is what my female Regius look like. My Phidippus Regiuses look like this. My Audaxes look like the black ones. Hold on a second. Let's get some images up here. They're just adorable, and you can see their little fangs. They fluoresce. They use their feet to dance when they dance and talk to each other during the mating cycle. But they're really small, you guys. They're not huge spiders by any sense of the word. I have one that looks just like this, and her name is Pumpkin. And aren't they so cute? I swear. And it's just like, and this one here, I would love to have him. This is a peacock jumping spider, and that's a male. And he throws up his back end up like that in the mating dance. And I'm like, and that's what the peacock spiders look like. Isn't that amazing, you guys? Farmer, you're hilarious. You crack me up. I love some of these pictures of them, though. Their jumping is amazing. My little grandson, who's Jackson, loves them. He just thinks that they are the cutest thing ever, and it's been a really good, fun thing that I've been able to share with him. But look at these faces, you guys. What's not to love? I mean, look at look at this face. It's just, I just don't know how you could look at that and want to squish it. I just don't. I'm sorry. They're just too cute. They're just too cute. So, oh my God. But anyway, so yeah, you guys, I just wanted you guys to see these are my babies, and that's what they look like. And so now you guys know. And I just think their eyes and they look at you and they interact with you. And yes, I let them get on me and everything. So I know I'm weird. What can I say? I was born on Halloween. Take it for what it's worth, you know. Um, but it is what it is. You guys, thank you again for hanging out, everybody. I'm going to go real quick through the questions because I did promise everybody that I was going to go through the questions. Thank you to Mitzi for gifting 5 memberships. I appreciate you so much for supporting my channel. Frank Meister, thank you so much for becoming a member of my channel. The Saint, thank you so much for your super chat. Gail, thank you again for your membership as well as all the gifts of membership. Mary asks me, do you think others are involved in this crime? I do not. I believe that this was a one-person crime. Do I think that maybe somebody could be involved in obstruction of justice that knew after the fact? Quite possibly. And I could be wrong. You just asked what I thought. And I just want everybody to know I could be wrong. Christy B says, hi there. 2 questions. Do you think law enforcement should be held accountable for all the evidence that has been destroyed? I don't know what you mean by accountable and how you would think that would happen. Without the Snapchat photo data, how can the prosecution prove the timeline? I think you're going to have to wait to see because they know when the girls were dropped off and they know when people were there. So we have an eyewitness that saw the girls. We have an eyewitness and she knows what time that was. So it's not going to just be the Snapchat photo data that they're going to go off of. Again, it's going to be multiple layers of evidence. Thank you so much for your question, Christy. This account asks, there will be public transcripts available at some point after the trial. Yes, and I already answered that question, but you will have to pay for them. Unsilent Bob 420, thank you so much for your super chat. Great show as always, Kristen. My question is, if RA is acquitted because the confessions are tossed, will we get to hear and read them? Yes, we will, but it may cost money. And eventually, like I said, somebody's going to get them, and a lot of the bulk of it will be put out in a book by multiple people, I'm sure. Mitzi, thank you again for your $10 super sticker. Shadowbox, thank you so much for the Cricket Fund. I appreciate you so kindly. Thank you. And thank you guys again for being here. It was a pleasure as always to see you, and I will see and talk to you all very soon. Please keep the families in your prayers as you go about your day. Please always remember Abby and Libby and their beautiful souls, because that's what this case is about, is Abby and Libby, not any of us. Good night, everyone.